So good morning once again. We're going to continue our discussion of dplyr, the verbs that we use in dplyr in order to transform data, manipulate data, wrangle data. So we said that there are some functions that we're going to learn. I'd like to apologize. I forgot to put here in select function, which is also a more basic function than mutate. So these functions, some first three, these more transform the rows. No? More ang focus nito more on the rows. Although si summarize at saka si group by, na-apektuhan din nila si columns, but this is more targeted for the rows. Itong select, mutate, these are more for the columns. Select means you're going to select particular columns only or variables, and then mutate, we use it to add, to create new variables. Okay, so last time we reached up to, we were using the flights data frame from NYC Flights 13 package. And may I know where we ended last time? Were we able to finish the summarize function? I think we finished the summarize function, right guys, or did we not? Feedback please guys, kung natapos natin yung summarize function. Feedback.
Sir, I think we ended. Sir, I think we ended sir sa may summarize function wherein we used the remove the non-applicable variables.
Okay. Sige, so did we reach this far, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Did we start with group by? Nasimulan na ba natin si group by?
No, sir.
Okay, sige. So I think we ended in summarize function. So just by way of review, we said that we use summarize function in order to reduce yung rows natin into one single measure. If you're looking at, in our example, we said that, let's go back to one example. In this case, we're creating an object called summary temp from the weather data frame. And then we want to create a variable called mean, which is supposed to be a measure of the average of temperature. And then we recall that we have to add this NA.rn is equal to true. Otherwise, it will give us an NA answer. And then also another column, stdev, which is just the measure of the standard deviation of your temperature. Okay, so with this, okay, take a look now. We have an object called summary temp. Okay, it contains one row and two columns. The first column is mean, the second column is stdev. So we reduced the measures for temperature into one, mean, and another one into standard deviation. Okay, now this summarize function is very useful in conjunction with another function which is group by. Okay. Also, guys, a case in point is that make sure, guys, that you properly or correctly code when you're summarizing. If you recall, guys, last time we said that this is wrong. This will return an error because first we summarize by creating the mean variable, which is the mean of the temperature. So this already is an object, summary temp. Okay, and then we said summarize again, where we're using again the temperature variable and compute for the standard deviation. That will not work, guys, kasi by the time you get to this line of code, ang existing na lang dito yung summary temp 2 na which has only one element, one row. Okay, so summary temp to one observation na lang na one variable. Okay, ito na lang yan, no? Yung mean at saka yung measure niya na 55. Okay, and then we continued with it and said that pakisama din yung standard deviation ng temp So wala na, sorry. Wala nang nakita na ano na temp dun sa preceding object. Okay, so we said that this will not work. Okay, so okay. All right, so we said that we can use summarize for different measures. Skewness, kurtosis, it really depends on what you want. So group by, what does group by do? Ang group by, guys, well, as the name suggests, kunyari may, for example, categorical variable tayo, pwede niya i-group by yon. Well, pwede rin, kung pwede i-group by yung isang integer, okay, that can also be done. No? All right, so in this case, i-group by natin by month. Okay, group by rows function. Okay, so for example, this one, let's first start with, let's introduce this, no? Para clear lang tayo. No? Insert, paki-insert na lang, guys. I'll copy this, Control C. And let's just create a temporary object G1. Okay. Or, weather na lang. Okay, ito na lang, diretso na tayo. So here, weather, guys, weather, and then i-group by natin si month. If I click this, okay. What happens, guys? Si weather, ganun pa rin, ano? No transformation was made. It's still 26,115 observations by 16 columns or 16 variables. Pero may nakita tayo dito na groups. No? Groups. Okay, yung month, 12 months. So naka-group dito yung month. Okay? And if I ungroup this, okay ko lang ungroup. Let's see, run natin to. Oops, sandali. May operator ba dapat dito? Dito. Okay. So what happened, guys? Nawala yung grouping, di ba? Okay, nawala yung grouping. So what I'm saying here is that when we group by a particular variable, nothing really happens to your data. Yung pa rin, exactly the same. Walang transformation dito. Only that yung metadata niya, we're just being informed that the month variable is grouped. No? Okay, pero wala nangyari sa wala na transform sa data natin. Okay, so let's go here. Okay, here we're creating an object called summary monthly temperature, where we're grouping by month, and then we're computing for the mean and the standard deviation of your temperature. So dito, I'm expecting, unlike yung kanina, yung summarize lang, where we have one row for both mean at saka standard deviation. Okay, 2 columns, 1 row, 1 by 2 siya. Ito, guys, ang expected natin should be 12 rows. No? 12 rows with 2 columns. Actually, 12 rows with 3 columns kasi it will include the month, the mean, and the standard deviation. Okay? So let's run this, guys. Run. Okay, so as expected, kasi pinag-group natin by month, so lalabas yung month na yan, 12 yan. So 12 months, and then you have averages. For month 1, okay, for month 1, you have the average for mean, standard deviation. Okay, this is the average of temperature for January, standard deviation for January, okay, etc. hanggang December. Here you can see quantitatively that July had the highest average. Tapos January and December had the lowest, hindi pala, si January, February had the lowest average. Okay, nakita din natin to, guys. Last time when we plotted this, nakita natin yung deviation, sa GEOM bar na ginawa natin. Okay. So how is this code similar to the summary temperature? Ano yung summary temperature natin? Ito. Yung the first summary temperature natin, ito. This one. Okay. Summary temperature natin, kasi we are not grouping by, so we just got the mean of temperature and the standard deviation of temperature. So this should be one measure. This is another measure. Okay. So we only have one observation, one observation for this. While on the other hand, yung pangalawa, no, since we group by natin by month, so we're we're asking R to compute for the mean and the standard deviation per month. So that's why we have 12 observations here, unlike yung kanina na walang grouping by. Okay, so as I said a while ago, guys, yung group by alone, that will not transform your data. But group by used in conjunction with summarize, that will transform your data now. Okay. Okay, as I mentioned here, guys, sinulat ko na to, no? Doesn't change the data frame itself, but changes the metadata or the data about the data. Okay, so let's use in diamonds. Ito na-meet na natin dati, no? So let's just access diamonds. Okay. So dimension na lang. Okay, 539. Okay, so i-view natin para makita natin laman. Okay, so we have carat, cut, different colors, clarity, etc. So you measure ng diamond. There are 53,940 observations. Okay. Now what happens, guys, if we cut? Okay, I don't think na. So let's insert this code, guys. I'm creating an object called D1. It's diamonds, and then group by cut. Again, we note this, guys, that nothing will happen to the data itself. Okay, it's still a it still contains everything there. Wala nangyari dun sa wala nangyari dun sa columns natin. It's still 10. And then ito kaya 6 siya kasi, guys, hined ko siya, no? Kaya 6 rows lang. But the data itself, D1, is the same as diamonds. Okay, only that we were told that may naka-cut siya, no? Naka-group yung cut. Okay, so let's continue with this. So let's now combine si group by cuts by summarize. Okay, so let's create an object called average price, okay, which consists of the average price of the cut variable from the diamonds data set. So ang gagawin natin, pinagrupo natin yung cut, tapos pinasummarize natin by average price. Ang tawag ng variable natin, average price, tapos yung function natin, mean, yung average niya. So let's run this. Run. Okay. So we now have this 5 levels of cut: my fair, my good, my very good. With here we can see that the premium one is has the highest average price, pinakamahal, tapos ang pinakamura si ideal. Okay, so that's another example of how to combine your kino-combine natin dito, guys, si group by at saka si summarize. Okay? Any questions, guys? Clear ba so far? Paki-chat na lang kung clear tayo.
Sir, pwede pa check ba up lang po yun dun sa first na code na wala po.
Okay, sige. Saan? Which
up
one?
Lang yun. Yan,
Okay,
head
sige.
D1. Okay. Okay na po, okay na po.
Okay, sige. Thank you. Thank you, Arnel. Okay, thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay, so we learned how to make use of group by and summarize combined, no? To give us a new data set. Okay. Let me just minimize this. Okay, so ito yung sinabi ko kanina guys. Si diamonds natin, kung naka-group na siya, we can ungroup it. No? So I won't run this kasi pinakita ko na sa inyo ito kanina. No? Alright. So, we can also make use of the simple count function. Ito yung simple yung count function guys. And open and close parentheses. This function will allow us to count. So, for example, balik tayo sa ano natin, sa flights dataset. Let's create an object called count by origin. Okay. So if we want to count by origin, so dapat gagamitin natin tong group by. Group by origin, and then i-summarize natin. So let's create a variable called count. This is our variable count, which is the value is n open and close parentheses, which is just the same as yung tally, no? Tallying or counting. So if we run this, I'm expecting three observations kasi ang origin natin, if you recall, EWR, LGA, and JFK. Tapos my count. Okay. So we have now here a 3x2 data table. So you have now yung origin natin at saka yung count na variable. So we see here that EWR had the most flights out of New York. Okay. Now guys, alam natin na magkaiba guys yung sum at saka yung n. Okay, yung sum, alam natin na sinasum up natin yung numerical variable niyan. Okay, samantalang yung n, binibilang niya. So there's a difference between the two, sum and n. Now you can group by more than one variable. So let's take a look at this next one. So we're asked to determine the number of flights leaving the 3 airports by month. Okay, so one way to do this is origin, group by origin, and then month. Now take note guys, magkakaiba kung order matters. No? Kung month tapos origin, iba yun kaysa origin and then month. What happens here is that uunahin dito yung origin. Okay? Uunahin yung origin. So uunahin muna yung mga EWR, tapos yung LGA, tapos yung JFK. Tapos i-prepare to dun sa the next column will be by month. So this will now create one column origin, another column month. So ilan yung origins natin? 3. Ilan yung months natin? 12. So expect 36 observations. Okay? Kasi pinapa-pair natin origin, 3 levels, month, 12 levels. So 3 by 12, that's 36 all in all. Okay, so anong measure ang gagawin natin? Pinapabilang natin, no? Bali, ang question na to will answer, how many flights came out of each airports on a monthly basis? Yun ang sinasagot natin sa ano na to, no? Sa question na to. So by origin monthly, we just called it this. So let's run this. Okay. And then we have now, as I mentioned, ang unang lalabas nito si origin. Okay. I-ano nga natin dito sa spreadsheet. So origin muna lahat guys. 12 siya kasi pinair siya sa month. No? So each individual instance of month, 1 to 12. Pero ang primary na column natin is origin. And then, ilan daw yung flights from EWR on January, February, hanggang December. Tapos si JFK naman, then LGA. Okay? Questions about this, guys? Paki-chat kung clear or kung may questions. Okay, let me flash the code again. Okay, thank you. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the feedback. Okay, then let's go to another example. what if we do this, guys? Ano mangyayari? Tingnan nyo group by origin and then group by month. No? So notice sa group by, guys, dito magkasama yung origin at saka month in one group by. Okay, so simultaneous yung pag-ano ni R niyan, ni dplyr. Ito naman, group by origin and then group by month and then summarize count. So the only the difference between this one and the previous code is that sineparate natin yung group by. Isang function na group by for origin and then pinype natin another function na group by for month. So what will be the difference here? Okay, so without answering first, tingnan natin pagka group by ng origin, ano nangyari? Okay? So incorrect siya, guys. Nagay ko lang na incorrect kasi hindi siya magge-generate ng output na gusto natin, no? Okay, as specified in the previous requirement. What will happen now if we run first itong first chunk na to? Okay, naka-group siya by origin. And then pag rinan na kasama ulit to, masusupersede na yung grouping by origin. I-group na siya by month, no? Okay? It will now be grouped by month, hindi na by origin. Try natin Let's copy this. Control C. And then dito na lang natin i-run. Okay, Control V. So let's call this T1 na lang, temporary one. So si flights, pinype natin group by origin and then group by month. Let's see what happens here. So si T1, okay, print natin dito. Okay, T1 will be okay, tingnan nyo guys, no? Paano siya naka-group? It's grouped by months, no? Diba? Oo, correct. Migs, paki-share sa lahat yung yung question mo. Because you're correct, no? Okay. Migs, kindly please. Para ma-acknowledge naman yung yung question. Yan, thank you Migs, no? So, ang sinasabi ni Migs dito, since na supersede lang naman yung unang group by, ang gusto naman natin talagang grouping by is by month. So why insert this? No? Okay, and the point of Migs was, if we really want to group by month, bakit ka maglalagay dito ng group by origin pa? So this becomes a useless line of code. Okay, so waste lang yan ng computing time, no? So if you really want to just to group by month, and then so why insert group by origin? But if you want to group by simultaneously origin and month, then dapat nasa isang group by lang yan. Okay, so that's what we meant here. Okay, so I hope that's clear, guys. Okay, so ito sinupersede or inoverwrite ni ng second group by yung unang group by. Okay. Okay, so same thing here, guys. Okay, so dito summary temperature by day. Okay, this is an interesting problem, no? Okay, dito ang gusto sabi daw each day in 2013, no? Ilang araw ba guys sa 2013? 360, 365, no? Kung may flights lahat ng every day of 365 except kung may leap year, no? So, in order to do this, guys, kailangan ma-identify natin yung year, yung month, at saka day. No? So that's what we should do in order to get 365 days of the year. So naka-group si year, although ito, isang year lang naman, 2013. Tapos, naka-group si month, at saka si day. So ang mangyayari niyan, 2013, month 1, day 1. No? 2013, month 1, day 2. So in other words, parang pinaplot natin dito all the days of the year. Okay? So let's run this. So temperature by day, group by year, month, day, and then summarize natin by mean and standard deviation. So let's print. Okay, so let me show this. So there guys, year, month, and day. Take note of the month and the day. 1, January 1, January 2, hanggang January 31. And then going down up to 12/30, December 30. So, ibig sabihin walang 12/31. No? 364 entries, which represents each day of the year for 2013. Okay? So, that was the code in order for us to get the daily average temperature and standard deviation. Okay, guys, clear? Okay, may questions dito? Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for the feedback. All right. Okay, so dito naman guys, what if group by day siya? So lahat ng day 1, lahat ng day 2, lahat ng day 3, hanggang lahat ng day 31. Pwede din natin gawin yon. But, okay, I'm just thinking out loud, no? So, why in the world will you get the average of lahat ng day 1? Okay, so lahat ng January 1, lahat ng January, plus day 2, January 2. Unless maybe you're looking at the day effect, no? So siguro tuwing January 1, January 1, February 1, March 1, nagbabago ba yung temperature? Parang ganun yung pinapalabas nito, no? But whatever the implication is, anyway, what we just want is to create a data frame, a data set, where it's summarized by day, and then it's grouped by day, tapos nakasummarize yung mean and standard deviation niya by day. So let's run this. We expect 1 to 31, okay? Yan, 1 hanggang 31. Tapos yung mean and standard deviation niya. Okay? So this exercise, guys, is just to, this question is just an exercise to group by a particular variable. The implication, we can't really read into that unless you are looking at may mga differences ba kung yung temperature, yung average temperature at saka standard deviation nila on per day. Okay? What I meant per day was, kunyari, lahat ng day 1. Ibig sabihin, January 1, February 1, March 1, pinagsama-sama yung, tas kinuha yung mean nila. Tapos lahat ng mga 2 for all months yun, no? Etc. All right. So, okay, next we move on to, ito, ang bilis ng oras, gabi. Okay, let's try to cover as much as possible. Okay, ito yung sinasabi natin na, ito, if you want to get the daily, no? Daily yung January 1 hanggang December 31, hindi pa pwede itong group by day, no? Dapat yung group by year, month, day. Okay? So that's a lesson for us, guys. Kung gusto natin makuha yung daily daily from January 1 up to December 31, you have to specify the year, the month, and the day. Okay, so how about this, guys? Paano naman kung by month, tapos by origin? Kasi kanina, origin tapos month. So ito, may expect natin na yung first column will be month, and then yung origin will be the second column. So ang mangyayari niyan, guys, first is month. Okay, so ang month, 1 hanggang 12. Tapos i-prepare yung month dun sa origin. Okay, so ilalabas mo na lahat ng month 1, month 2, month 3, etc. Okay, so let's run this. And we expect, guys, 36 din siya. Okay. 36 din siya. Ilang months? 12. Ilang origin? 36. No? Origin is 3. So 12 times 3, that's 36. So how will our data look like? Saan na yan? By origin, and then, wait, hindi yata yung rilan ko. So yan. Ito. Where's that? Ito month pala. Sorry. I was pointing out to the wrong output. By month muna, tapos origin. Okay. Run natin to. So by month, tapos origin. Yan. So nauna guys yung month, no? Bakit 3 months lang to? Kasi i-prepare siya sa origin. Tatlo lang yung origin. So lahat muna ng month 1 paired with the origin. Then lahat ng month 2 paired with the origin, etc. Okay, so that's how, so that's the difference guys between yung order ng mga variables natin. So pag group by month origin, mauuna si month, tapos i-prepare siya kay origin. Tapos yung kanina, group by origin, tapos month, uunahin muna si origin. Tatapusin muna si origin na naka-pair siya sa month. Okay? Any questions guys about that? Any questions? Okay, thank you. So take note guys, it's important also how you put in the group by yung order ng yung order ng variable natin. You'll have the same number of outputs, number of observations, pero mababago nga lang yung presentation. So it depends on how you want your new data frame to look like. Okay, so let's go back to flights, guys. I think dito my library, library ng psych. Okay, if you recall guys, dati ginamit na natin ito si psych for descriptive statistics. Okay, I just want to show you this to you that hindi natin kanina linode si psych. So if we run this, hindi ko na ito run guys yung flights kasi naka na siya, existing na siya. If I run describe for flights because I want to, I just want to see guys, kung kaya ba nating makuha yung data na to, ilan daw guys yung flights na lumabas from the 3 airports for each carrier. Okay, so yung question yan guys, okay, so pinapabilang sa atin, how many? So this is a count function and parenthesis to. Tapos ang sinasabi dito, 3 airports, yung 3 airports natin yung origin at saka carrier. Okay, so how can you possibly answer that guys? dplyr to, yung kanina ginagawa natin, naka-group by siya. Group by origin and then by carrier. And I just wanted to discuss here that you cannot see that in just by an ordinary descriptive stat, no? Kunyari ito, yung describe function, it gives us several summary statistics. If we run this, yung describe flights, mag-error tayo guys kasi hindi pa natin na-load si psych. Pero how can we run this guys without loading psych, knowing that describe is from psych package? Answer? Paano ko ma-access tong describe na to, itong function na describe, which comes from psych package without loading, without library psych? Paano? You should know that guys by now. Yes? Ano answer? Yeah, correct. Thank you. Thank you. Just to acknowledge. Thank you, Arnel. Thank you, Gracia. No? You're correct. It's using the namespace. No? So lagyan natin dito psych. Okay, yan. We can run this now. Pag rinan natin to, just this one. It's taking some time kasi malaki yung output na to. Yan. I-run ko ulit kasi hindi nag-cache sa Still running. Okay. So ano yung mga variables dito na binibigay niya? Okay. First is the number, and then non-missing. Ito yung mga variables, no? Ito yung mga variables. Tapos, sorry guys, hindi maganda yung pagkaano, no? Where's the mean? This is the mean. This is the standard deviation. This is the median, etc. This is the kurtosis. Okay. So, hindi natin makikita dito yung kung ilan yung mga flights, no? Carrier per airport. You cannot see here. You cannot see it here in your descriptive statistics. Okay, it has to be manipulated. It has to be coming from your flights, and then ita-transform natin. So doon ang gusto natin, guys. We want grouping by origin and by carrier. Tapos bilang, no? So alam na natin to. Yan natin. So there, we can answer that question now. Okay, so there are 35 observations here. So dito lalabas si EWR, tapos ano yung mga carrier na lumabas sa kanya, no? Nag-fly out sa kanya. From Newark, si 9E, 1,268. Pinakamarami si EV. Okay, so ano yung ko lang? Okay, there are 35 observations here. So here we can see that sa Newark, ang pinakamaraming flights out is United Airlines. And then this one, EV. Okay, so you can get the same for the other origins. So you have 35 entries here. Okay, hindi natin siya ma-multiply kasi hindi naman uniform yung mga carriers na lumalabas from each of the origin. Okay, so in this, we could not have guessed kung ilan yung guys, no? Kung ilan yung output dito kasi each of the origin have their own sets of carriers. Okay, so now on the other hand, ano ba to? Ito yung carriers lang, no? Kung ang gusto lang natin sinamarize yung carriers dito, I think we should preliminary information siguro to, no? Group by carrier. So ilang carrier ba lahat, guys? Ito yung this code will answer the question, how many carriers are there? Okay? The number of flights that flew out of the whole data set, count by carrier. Okay, ito. So there are 16 carriers, 16 unique carriers, and then you have 2 columns here. Okay, so makikita natin dito ang pinakamaraming flights out is B6, and then EV. Sorry, it was United Airlines, etc. Okay, and then yung pangalawa, yung by origin and by carrier. Okay. Okay, how does filter differ from group by followed by summarize, guys? Okay, si filter, ang ginagawa, hindi minamodify yung data, di ba? Ang ginagawa lang niya, tinatanggal lang yung mga rows. As is pa rin yan. While si group by, natatransform yung data by summarizing the numerical variables. So may mga bagong values tayo. No? Wala naman mean dun sa data natin. Mean ng temperature, wala yon. Wala naman standard deviation ng temperature. So we generate that by using the summarize function and with group by. No? Unlike sa filter na magtatanggalan ng mga magtatanggalan ng mga rows. Okay, before we go to mutate, guys, kasi may mas si mutate kasi nagdadagdag ng ng panibagong variable. Si select naman, which I'm sorry I forgot to include here. So gagamitin natin tong supplemental na data na RMD file which I sent to you. I-close ko muna ibang let me close this kasi ang dami na. So this one, guys. This one, okay. So have you opened it? Paki-chat nga guys kung ready na yung RMD file na to. Okay, thank you. The rest, open na ba? Okay. Thank you guys. Ito guys, halo-halo to kasi I feel that may mga topics na incomplete pa o kailangan pa ng elaboration. Pinagsama-sama ko na dito. So whatever we don't finish here, I'm going to record, no? So ang madidiscuss natin dito yung select kasi dun sa isang file natin wala akong nalagay na select. Okay, so here we're going to use well, tidyverse includes already your dplyr, so pakiran na lang to. So alam natin si tidyverse guys, it's a collection of several packages. So if you want one shot lang, ggplot, dplyr, etc., per, etc., you can just run yung tidyverse. Okay na ba? Okay na. All right. So here we're going to use a certain data. I got this from the internet, guys. So i-run natin to. Okay, if you run this, okay, tingnan natin yung first 6. I better look at this. I better saan yung my data natin. My data here. So it consists of how many variables? 20 variables. Huh? 20 variables. Okay. And then index. And then state. Now, this is another way of presenting your data, but it's not tidy in the sense that itong year, 2002, 2003, okay, this could have been one variable lang yung year, no? Tapos nakalagay lang yung yung year, tapos 2002, 2003, etc. Okay? So this is called a wide format. W-I-D-E, wide siya kasi some elements of your variables, kanya year, are written as columns, no? Kasi yung year to no? Year, as I said a while ago, guys, pwedeng yung year sana isang variable lang siya tapos nakalagay dito. Okay? So ang mangyayari, guys, dun sa file, yung file na dinidiscuss natin ngayon, pakita ko lang so that you know, sa ilalim yan, merong discussion dyan on converting your data. No? Ito. So this one, let me just show you. Ito, pivot longer. No? So it's converting a wide array of data into a longer data. Bakit longer? Bakit longer siya? Kasi, so let me go back to my data. If you take a look at this is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. No? 14 observations to. So pwedeng ang mangyari dito, Alabama, pwedeng may variable tayo na year, tapos may variable na, kunyari, sabihin natin sales to, no? You have two variables, year at saka sales. So ang mangyayari dito, magiging longer, hahaba yung observations natin kasi, for example, Alabama, 2002, sales 129. Okay? So in other words, itong value, itong 2,000 na to at saka itong value na to, they will go to separate columns. Tapos ito na naman, Alabama, another observation, 2003, sales 131, 171, etc. Okay? So what will happen is that ito, guys, papasok sa ilalim yan, magiging parang longer yung data natin, mahaba yung length. Okay? Which is actually better kasi mas madaling mag-data analysis kapag tidy yung data natin. Yeah, correct, no? Thank you, Graisa. Sana pinasok mo dun sa everybody. Okay, tama. So sabi ni Graisa, please paki-copy and then send to everybody para makita nila. You guys, please. Ayan, okay, everybody na pala, no? More rows, yeah, correct. There will be more rows, no? As I said, guys, ito, magiging one row to. Ito, another row, another row. So all of this will become rows, no? So ang tawag natin dito, guys, wide format. Yung isa naman, yung long format. Okay, so in this case, mas maganda, guys, to kung for data analysis, mas maganda to kung naka-long format. So yung example sa baba, guys, hindi natin aabutin yon, but please study on how you can convert this data, yung my data, into a long format, no? Kasi part ng dplyr yan, part ng transformation yan. Okay, so balik na tayo sa ano natin. Ang inaano lang natin dito, guys, ang tinitingnan natin first is select, no? I have already written the codes, guys, para mas mabilis tayo. So create an object called select1, okay? Ang laman lang, guys, index state 2002. Okay? Yung tatlong ano lang yan, guys, tatlong columns. So what's happening here is that we have ilang rows yung ano natin, ilang rows yung my data. There are 20 rows. Ang mangyayari dito, magiging tatlong rows na lang. So in effect, guys, we deleted yung other rows. That's what happens when we select. Minomodify natin yung data object natin, yung data frame natin, by deleting some of the columns. So let's run this. Okay. O, yan na, no? Ang laman na lang, index. So si state at saka si Y2002. Okay, so medyo similar siya sa filter, guys. Only that, ito, ang quote-unquote fini-filter natin, yung mga columns. No? Although sa dplyr language, yung filter, ginagamit yan to modify your rows. Okay, how about this one, guys? All variables except index and year 2002. You can, of course, name the different, variables, no? Na gusto mong ipasok. Pero ang mas madali dyan, minus index, minus year 2002. So, pareho lang yan. Okay? So, lahat nakasama except for index and year 2002. Okay? And then, I don't think you have this. Paki-insert na lang. This is another way to go about it. So, negative C, tatanggalin lang yung index at saka 2002. So, we discussed that in the other class. Okay, questions so far, guys? Okay, no questions? All right. So ito naman, guys. Okay. Okay. None so far, thank you. All right. If you want to learn more about select, mga pala, hindi natin na select. That's the ever helpful help function in R. Oops. Question mark. Wala akong question mark. Select. Okay, so this is coming from your so yung select function na yan, it's from your dplyr, okay? And then maraming helper functions to, Okay. So pwedeng everything, no? As helper, pwedeng yung last column lang, kung gusto lang natin last column. Kunyari ito, guys. No? Ilagay na lang tayo dito. Select cell 2B. Okay. And then, oops. Select. Okay, my data. And then, last underscore call. Okay, so if you do that, guys, enter natin to. Okay, hindi natin nakuha. Ito na lang. Oops, hindi. Cell ano yun? Cell 2B. Ano nga lang? Head. Cell 2B. Okay, you see now that yung last column na lang yung kasama. No? Okay, so pwedeng starts with, ends with, contains, okay, it's a literal string, and others, no? All of, any of, okay. So there are examples here which I would If you look at this also, guys, matututunan nyo rin to. No? It's coming from the iris data set. Okay, then another example starts with, tingnan natin. Gusto natin na starts with y lang. So, alam natin ang result nito. So, ang mga variables natin, lahat lang ng y. No? Okay, then, pwedeng contains, no? Contains. O, contains I muna. Contains I, hindi siya case sensitive, no? Pwedeng small I or big I. Okay, let's run this. Okay. Take note, sinama niya si index kahit na hindi capital I, no? So these are some of the instances na hindi case sensitive si R. Usually case sensitive yan. Okay, so let's have another example. Let's call it cell 5A, select 5A, select, then my data, comma, contains, let's say contains E. No? So what happens here, guys? Add select 5A. Okay, so let's run this too. Okay, ano nangyari, guys? Walang kasamang y kasi dun sa mga variables natin na y, walang letter E dun. Pero si index meron, si state din meron. No? Okay, so pareho silang kasama. Contains letter E. So index has letter E, state has letter E. Okay? So inaano lang natin, guys, yung mga helper functions ni select. Here, yung my data natin, guys, una muna si index, tapos si state, tapos y2002. What we can do is, if we want to change the order, so select 6, my data, inuna natin si state. State, tapos si index, tapos everything after that. Ito ang gusto rin naman natin, yung state muna, tapos index, tapos lahat na from 2000 to 2015. So pwede natin gawing everything. No? Kaysa i-spell out pa natin isa-isa yung Y2002 hanggang 2015. So this one will give us a data frame where the start is state, index, tapos everything na after. Okay? So quite easy, guys. No? Quite easy to parang filter lang siya. Okay, any questions? Sige, clear so far, guys. Paki-check nga kung clear. Thank you. Thank you. Yung iba? Okay, thank you. Okay. So let's continue now. Ito, joints na. Bago tayo mag-joints, guys, punta muna tayo. Balik tayo sa Sorry, guys, kasi I failed to insert here, include here in our initial dplyr yung select. Okay, so we go now to mutate. Si mutate, guys, ang kaiba naman ni select kay mutate, ang similarity nila, they both deal with columns. Ang difference nila, mutate is used to introduce a new variable. Select is used to choose the variables without including a new one. So pag may gusto kong ipasok na bago, mutate ang gagamitin. Okay, alam natin na ang formula for centigrade is Fahrenheit minus 32 divided by 9/5 or 1/8, 1.8. Okay, so dito, i-overwrite natin sa weather data frame, okay, by mutating, ibig sabihin, magdadagdag tayo ng panibagong variable, okay. Ang panibagong variable natin yan, ang name temp in C, which is equal to temp. Let's take a look first at weather. Si weather, guys, yung temperature na to, according to the metadata, this is in Fahrenheit. So we want to create an object called temp in C, which is it's a conversion of your Fahrenheit temperature to centigrade. So temp minus 32 over 1.8, that's your degree in centigrade. So if we run this, pag tinignan natin sa weather, guys, okay, mapapalitan na si weather, may bagong weather data frame na tayo. Meron na temp in C sa dulo. Okay, so that's what the mutate function does. Maglalagay siya ng panibagong variable. Okay. In fact, ginawa na natin to guys, naalala nyo dati yung GDP is equal to GDP per cap times the population. Ito din yan, no? Yung mutate. Okay. So, another question here. Ito naman, i-combine natin gagamitin natin ngayon yung panibagong weather natin, panibagong data natin. Okay. I-group natin by month. Group by month, tapos, and then, isa-summarize natin. So, alam na natin itong group by month and summarize. Pero ito, sinamarize lang natin by getting the average of temp and temp in C. So, dito, we created a variable called min temp in F at saka min temp in C. So, we expect 12 rows here, okay, na may variable name na month, tapos min at saka min temp in F, min temp in C. Let's run this. Ayan. So, 12, no? Okay. Any questions, guys? Any questions? Now, ako may question. Pwede ba natin pagsama-sama yan sa isang Sa isang chunk ng code. Insert natin, no? Insert. Okay. So first, ito, Control C, Control V, okay, and then Control Shift N, then tapos dapat to. Okay. Tingnan natin yung code na to, guys. Pwede ba to? Okay, so we're creating an object called summary monthly temperature using the weather data frame, and then nag-mutate tayo, no? Nag-mutate tayo, nag-create tayo ng panibagong object called temp in C. And then, okay, group by natin si month. Okay, and then sinummarize natin si min temp in F, min temp in C. Okay, and then we printed that. Okay, to distinguish that, yung kanina, gawin natin itong 1. Ito gawin natin ng 1. Okay, so will this work? Sige nga guys, paki-chat kung yes or no. Did it work, guys? Okay, good. Ilipat ko to guys kasi mali yung pagkalagay ko. Control X. Okay. The rest guys, nag-work ba siya? Okay, isa pa lang nakikita ko. Okay, good. Ang iba sana may feedback. Okay, good. Thank you. I just see 3 pa lang na nakapag-answer kung yes, kung nag-work sa kanila. How about the rest, guys? Alright, so good. Yan, sige. Alright? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so pwede siya. No? So dito makikita natin guys yung power ng ano, no? Ng dplyr, yung step by step. Isang ano lang guys, isang chunk of code. We literally created a new object. Nagsimula tayo sa weather. Binago natin si weather data frame guys by adding a variable. Tapos yung data frame na yan with the new variable temp in C, group by natin month. Pagkatapos nun, pinakompute natin yung mean temperature, tawagin na mean temp in F, tapos yung mean temp in C, yung average niya, tawagin na mean temp in C. Tapos naka-by month yan. So 12 rows of observation kasi 12 months. Tapos tatlo yung columns, one for the month, one for the variable mean temp in C, the other one is mean temp in F pala and in C. Okay? So sana dito guys, nakita niyo, ma-appreciate niyo yung power ni dplyr, no? Ang laki ng pwede nating magawa. Nung wala pang dplyr guys, mahabang function yan. Tapos, hindi pa pwedeng pagsama-sama sa isa. Hindi pa pwedeng pagsama-sama sa isang chunk. No? Okay? So, step by step muna yan. And it will take a long. Hindi natin i-discuss kung paano iisa-isahin yan. But it's really a lot longer than with this simple chunk of code. So, napakalaki talaga ng tulong nitong pipe operator. No? Yung logic na and then. No? Okay, ito naman guys. We're creating an object called flights1, or kung gusto niyo namang hindi na i-preserve si flights, yung original, pwedeng flights naman yan. But let's just use flights1. Okay, what are we doing here? We're creating a variable called gain. No? Ano ba tong gain na to? Departure delay minus arrival delay. Intindi lang natin quickly, no? So, I'll go to the flights dataset. Departure delay, ito, 4. Kunyari, 4 to, no? Hindi pala kunyari, 4 sa flight na to. Tapos, ito yung arrival delay, 20. Okay? So, ang gain niya is 4 minus 20. Ibig sabihin, lalo pang tumagal, no? Na-delay na nga ng 4, tapos sa dulong-dulo ang delay, 20. So, ibig sabihin, nag-deteriorate pa yung delay ng 16 units, kaya negative 16. So na-delay na nga nung una, na-delay na nga nung pag-alis, nung pagdating pa, na-delay pa ng 20 minutes na yung delay. So ibig sabihin, nadagdagan pa to ng 16 minutes na total delay. Okay, so that's what the gain means. A negative gain means an additional delay. Unlike this one, ito malaki yan. 2 at saka 33, ibig sabihin, nadagdagan pa ng 31 minutes yung delay. Ito, maaga, no? Negative 1 minus negative 18, ibig sabihin, ilan yung guys? 17. Ibig sabihin nun guys, nadagdagan ng 17 minutes yung pagiging early niya, no? Kasi dito, umalis lang ng early umalis, early to leave, 1 minute. Early to arrive, 18 minutes na. So, ibig sabihin, nadagdagan pa yung early departure na ng 17 minutes. Okay, so that's what we mean by gain. No? The bigger negative gain, ibig sabihin, the longer, nadagdagan pa yung initial delay. Okay, so let's go back to our file. So, we're creating an object called, flights1 object, tapos we're introducing dun sa flights data frame na to a variable called gain, which is the difference of the departure delay and arrival delay. So let's run this. Okay, so sa dulo guys, meron na tayong gain, no? Okay, so makikita natin dyan yung malalaking negative guys, yung lalong lumaki yung delay. Pag positive, ibig sabihin, pwedeng walang, hindi siya maagang umalis, pero maaga siyang, maaga siyang dumating. Okay? And maraming implications. No? So the higher the gain, the better for the passengers and also for the airline. Okay, so let's now summarize this. Mag-create tayo ng summary stat. Okay? So I hope you did this, guys. Hindi ko na I will not ask you to do it here kasi I already requested you to do this. So pinapakuha lang yung, so let's create an object called gain summary from flights 1. Okay, kasi yung flights 1, ito yung may gain na variable. Okay, let's summarize 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So walong variables, no? Walong variables ang pinapa-include natin. Mean, quartile 1. So ito yung mga function yan. Mean ng gain, okay, from the flights 1 package. So dapat ilalagay din natin lahat, guys, yung na.rm is equal to true kasi mag-na tayo dito, no? Okay, quantile, so this is the first quartile, 0.25. Quantile, this is the second quantile. Third quartile, 0.75. Maximum, average, standard deviation, okay? And then missing, ano yung missing natin? Sum daw ng lahat ng is NA ng gain. So this function, guys, sum, will add up all the missing values in the gain variable. Okay, so let's run this. So dito ko na lang gain summary. So where is our gain summary here? Gain summary. Okay, so as expected, since wala naman tayong ginugroup by dito, no, isang ano lang to, isang row, no, having several columns or variables. Okay, minimum ng gain, ibig sabihin, may flight na nag-lose pa ng 196 minutes. 2 hours, more than 3 hours. Ano kaya pakiramdam ng mga passengers dito, no? Galit na galit, no? Quartile 1, quartile 2, quartile 3, maximum, minimum, mean ng ano? Mean ng gain, average, standard deviation, and then how many missing values? 9,430 missing values. Okay. Any questions, guys, about this? Otherwise, guys, paki-chat kung clear ba siya. Okay, thank you. The rest, guys, paki-chat nga kung clear. Okay, yes na lang kung clear so far. Okay, thank you. Guys, take note, we're going through this quickly because I requested you to answer the questions. Okay. Who needs a bit of time to copy this? Paki-chat nga kung if you want a few more seconds to, baka hindi nyo pa na ano to. You want more time, a few seconds to copy this code? If you have done it, that's good. If not, guys, I'll give you a few more seconds to copy. Okay, mukhang nagawa nyo naman yata. Okay. All right, so let's go to the next one. Ito naman, guys, no? So, notice na medyo mahaba-haba din, ano, kung iisa-isahin natin yan. Actually, may mga descriptive, mga functions naman. Kaya itong scheme. Okay, it's from the scheme R function. So we can do that, no? Gain summary 1, coming from flights 1. Then select, okay, here we select the gain variable, and then since galing sa scheme R, pa-scheme natin. So could you kindly run this, guys? Okay, so here we have also the output, gain yung variable, missing is 9430. Okay, mean, standard deviation, minimum value, first quartile, second quartile, third quartile, maximum value. Okay, and then you have the histogram. Okay, the scheme function from scheme R package will give us those measures. Okay, of course, guys, you can also use this, the summary function, flights 1, dollar gain. Okay, you can also get that. Okay, and you can also give this a name, no? To create this object. Kunyari, just call it S1. S1. Okay, so you now have an object called S1. Head na lang, head. Isa lang yan eh. Isang row lang siya. So this is now our S1 object, which consists of the minimum, quartile 1, quartile 2, quartile 3, quartile average, quartile 3, and the maximum. Wala nga lang ditong wala nga lang ditong walang standard deviation, okay? Tsaka walang variance. Okay, mas complete tong scheme. All right, then, okay, this is just to create a histogram for the gain, no? Okay, we won't discuss this anymore kasi we've had several lessons already on ggplot. So ito pinat lang using histogram. See, quantitative variable natin na gain. Okay. Okay, then, okay, this is also another example where we, this time we insert several variables at once. No? Kanina yung variable natin gain lang, ito, tatlong variables. Pwede yun, sabay-sabay. No? So we create an object called flights 2. So ilalagay natin si gain, hours, and gain per hour. Okay? So madali lang intindihin to. We're just inserting 3 new variables. Okay, so si flights 2 natin, it's the same as your flights, only that meron na ditong gain, hours, and gain per hour. Okay, any questions, guys? Okay, we have only about 10 minutes. Okay, thank you. All right, I'll leave you guys to try to answer what this question is. Okay, create the departure delay, arrival delay columns by simply subtracting departure time and scheduled departure time. Okay. Okay, so here, guys, yung arrange and sort. Arrange and sort, guys. This is very easy kasi nagawa na natin ito dati, di ba? So here we're creating an object called frequent destination from the flights data frame, group by destination, and then summarize. Okay, summarize number of flights is equal to n. Okay, so pinapabilang natin yung destination, no? Run natin to. Okay, so ito yung mga destinations, right? So ilan bang destinations? Frequency. Ano na lang? View na lang, guys, para mas mabilis. Okay, we have 105. No? So there are 105 destinations, all in all. Tapos, binilang natin yung flights na papunta dun sa destination. Atlanta, I think this is Atlanta, 17,000. But we can arrange this kasi ito, arrange alphabetically. If we don't want that to be arranged alphabetically, we now use the arrange function. Ayan. So ito, guys. No? yung frequency destination natin, i-arrange natin. Okay, pag descending, that will be, ano siya guys? Di ba pag ganito lang, okay, pag ganyan lang guys, arrange. So, i-run natin to. Okay, so you notice guys, it's from lowest to highest. Okay, but if you want to have it highest to lowest, descending, no? Lalagay natin descending. Alright? Okay, so Orlando ba to? 17 to etc. So it's now arranged from highest to lowest, or if you recall guys, dati yung ginawa natin, Control C, Control V. So let's call this 1, 1, instead of descending. Ano gagawin natin dito guys? What's another way to do this? What other way guys? We learned about this before. Okay. How do we make this also descending? Alala nyo guys? Diba ito? So run natin to. Oh. Ano mali dito guys? Okay. Question, why doesn't it run? Anong mali dito guys? Ano tayo? 10 minutes pa. 10 minutes pa. The one in the object, which object? Okay, quick guys, anong mali dito? Okay, bakit frequency destination lang? Bakit guys? Kasi wala pa naman tayong object na frequency destination 1, no? Right guys? Kung gusto natin guys gamitin itong frequency destination 1, mag-create muna tayo ng object na yon. Right? So mali ito. No? You're correct. Tama yung sinabi nyo. No? So another way to write this is frequency destination 1. Okay? Wala ito. Tapos negative num flights. Okay? Kasi we're here, you're already presupposing that there's an object called frequency destination 1. But we don't have that object unless mag-create ka dito ng panibagong object na frequency destination 1 and then saka mo siya i-arrange. Okay? I hope that's clear guys. No? So, pinapakita ko sa inyo sometimes nagiging yung carelessness, maaaring maging carelessness. No? So, make sure that you understand yung object na minamanipulate natin. Okay, so that's the same. Alright. So, ito guys, we have a few more minutes. Okay. Itong joints na to, kakailanganin nyo yung dalawang CSV file. Okay. Customer at saka order. No? Okay. So, I want you to explore this. Pero punta muna tayo dito guys kasi may basic na example ako dito. Okay, so let me just, although ano ko to guys, i-record ano kasi dun sa isang section hindi kami umabot dun sa joints. Tayo, let's do this. So just the basics, no? Basics about joints and then gawin nyo guys yung ano, no? Gawin nyo yung nasa kabilang file. Alright, so these are basics about joints. Let's create a data frame, that one. Okay, so ang first column natin, ID, tapos second column, X1, containing A1 and A2. Tapos strings as factors, false. So hindi siya factors, no? Okay, let's run this. Ito naman, data 2. Ang laman niya, ID, 2, 3, tapos another column, X2, B1, B2. So this is, remember, this is how to create a data frame, guys. Identify natin yung mga columns natin, tapos yung laman ng mga columns na yan. Okay, so let's run this. So we now have an object called that1 and that2. Okay, that1, ito, ID 1, 2, X1, A1, A2. Tapos si ano naman, si dot 2. Where's my dot 2? Okay, here, data 2, dot 2. Okay, si 2, 3, and B1, B2. Okay, we're going to use this. Yung joints, guys, you're making use of 2 or more data frames. No? Kaya nga joints eh. So hindi natin ginagamit yung joints kapag iisa lang yung data frame natin. So this presupposes that you're working with 2 data frames, 2 or more. Okay, so first, you have mutating joints. Pag mutating joints, guys, pinagsasama natin both data frames. So yung columns ng data ng dot 1 at saka columns ng dot 2, pareho natin makikita pag mutating joints tayo. 4 na klaseng mutating joints, guys. Number 1, inner, left, right, and full. So yun yung mga mutating joints natin. Ano? Inner joint, left joint, right joint, full joint. Meron naman tayong filter joints, okay? Which is different from the mutating joints. So ito yung semi at saka anti-joint. So tingnan lang natin, guys, yung example na to. What happens, guys, sa inner joint? Okay, so we're creating an object here, J1. Inner joint natin, take note, yung first data frame natin, dot 1, and then the second data frame, dot 2. Tapos kailangan sabihin natin, with what variable are we joining them? Okay? Sinasabi natin dito, ID. So, since ID ang common sa kanila, doon natin sila i-join, no? Okay, so let's see what happens. Control Enter. So we now have an object called ID, no? Okay, so sandali I-print lang natin dito si dot 1 at saka si dot 2 para kita natin. Okay, dot 1, dot 2. Run natin to. Okay. Alright, guys, tingnan natin This is dot 1, this is dot 2. Now, nag-inner join tayo. No? Inner join, okay, dot 1, dot 2. So, guys, take note may kinalaman yung order dito. Parang yung group by, we will have different results pag nauna yung dot 2 at saka dot 1. So, paano daw to? Dot 1, dot 2 by ID. So, let's first take a look at the resultant object. Notice na andi dito si ID at saka andi dito si X1 at saka si X2. Okay, so in other words, yung common na variable nila, which is ID, kasama. Tapos, si X1, which is from dot 1, kasama. Si X2, kasama din. So, sinama lahat ng mga variables sila. Pero, ano magiging observations natin? Okay, so sino pinili? Sino pinili, guys? Okay, so dito, guys, sa inner joint, titingnan natin kung sinong parehong ID nila. So, ano yung intersection ng ID nila? Ito 1, 2, ito 2, 3. Ano yung pareho sa ID nila, guys? Answer, please. Wait, time na pala, no? Anyway, I'll just record this. Tapusin ko lang to, guys. No? 1, 2, 2, 3. Ang pareho nila, 2. So, si 2 lang papasok, guys. Okay? Si 2. Tapos, si 2, kay dot 1, si 2 is A2. Okay? Tapos, kay dot 2, si 2 is B1. Kaya yun ang pumasok dito. A2, B1, corresponding to X1 and X2. So that's your inner joint. Okay? So thank you so much, guys. I'm going to record, guys, yung joints, no? At saka yung last, yung ito, guys, yung longer, no? Pivot longer natin. Okay, so that will wrap up our discussion on dplyr. And then next week, guys, interesting kasi application yung bibigay ko, no? A particular package which you will really love kasi ang dami niyang power. Tapos and then regression also. So 2 lessons for next week, guys. Although wala nga tayong pasok, di ba? Okay. So with that, guys, thank you so much. I'll stop recording already. And yung magpapacheck